Hello friends, welcome back to the Stanford Bridge Studio, and welcome back to Football Therapy with me, your host and therapist, Jan. I do hope you're doing well, my friend, I really do hope that. And yes, this is an episode of Chelsea News that I bring to you, giving you updates from around the world of football related to Chelsea. Of course, I needn't remind you that we are all currently languishing in the trenches and in mid-table in the Premier League. Yes, a very difficult weekend for the West London Giants, as I'm sure you know, Chelsea had a shockingly disappointing result against the 20th place team, Southampton. Now, people are understandably upset, including myself. If you watch my previous two uploads, I have been on the brink of madness and despair. But I'm here to talk to you today about David Ornstein's column, speaking about Mason Mount, contract renewal or sold in the summer to most notable suitor, potentially Liverpool, who are going well at the moment, aren't they? They look good. Also, will Graham Potter get sacked? So much to discuss. Please do consider giving me your sweet, sweet interactions. Likes, I like them, and feel free to comment as we go along the video on everything I speak about. It's important you express yourself, man. It's important. Alright then. So we're going to start on Mason Mount with the David Ornstein column, excuse me, and then we can talk a little bit more loosely about GP, the Chelsea gap. So yes, coming on David Ornstein's column, we're going to David Ornstein's column. I'm doing nothing untoward on it. Let's jump right in. Chelsea's faltering campaign suffered its latest setback on Saturday as they were beaten at home by bottom of the table Southampton. They remain 10th in the Premier League with 15 games still to play. I read that 15 games still to play, and I don't know how I feel. I feel like that's not many games at all, but at the same time, I feel like it's too many. It's a paradox. I mean, it's a paradox. One of the many issues facing the new ownership at Stamford Bridge concerns Mason Mount, the homegrown talent and England international midfielder whose deal is due to expire on 2024. As you know, viewer, almost certainly, Mason Mount is one of the lowest paid players in our squad. He's playing very poorly this season, out of form, in granted a team that's looks more than dysfunctional than ever. But before we read on, it's important to know, if you believe Twitter, you think Mason Mount's this terrible person. He's not. He's a great young professional, a sweet lad. He trains well. He's won player of the season consecutively. He's the first player to reach double figures in goals and assists in the Premier League since Eden Hazard, despite naturally playing in a deeper position. He is versatile. He fights for the badge. He loves Chelsea. All good things, but despite that, there's been a culture war. People target him for a multitude of reasons. It's also, I guess, vogue, I think, for some young fans to... I don't understand it, man. Look, he's playing so poorly at the moment, but you have to be cerebral about this stuff and look at the big picture. And for all you hipsters out there who don't like Mason Mount, every coach who's coached him has loved him, including Thomas Tuchel, etc., etc. If he goes, it would be sad, but if he goes to a rival and does really well after being this beacon in the academy, it would be dreadful. Let's read on. Negotiations between Chelsea and Mount over a new contract have not led to an agreement, but several offers made last summer and in the autumn are rejected by the 24-year-old. Now, this is interesting because Reece James accepted a high-paid contract. I read somebody's on $250,000 a week. I don't know if that's true. You read a lot of stuff on the internet that could be nonsense. And to be honest, I would never, ever say Reece James doesn't deserve an amount of money because he's, maybe our best player. Do you know what I mean? And he's a game changer. But I think Mason Mount, considering what he's done at the club, he deserves a good wage. I personally, I know the new contracts that have been done in January are on long-term deals, and they're on low basics that give you the capacity to generate more money. I think that's how it works. It's like incentive-based. So this has led to speculation that Mount could depart his boyhood side, and reports have suggested a number of suitors. Most notably, Liverpool will attempt to prize him away from West London. Yeah, loads of top teams will know about Mason Mount. Real Madrid, obviously we won the Champions League, and he scored it. Hasn't he scored against Real Madrid twice in consecutive years? I'm pretty sure he has. They'll know about him. Loads of big teams will know about Mason Mount. They know, until recently, starting thing, that he's won the Champions League. He's played well in big games. He's 24 years old, and he's got a wealth of experience. He's played in different leagues. He's a good professional. They do those, psychological breakdowns, don't they? So, a lot of teams will want him. I'm not saying he'll want to go abroad, to Bayern Munich or something. I think he'd probably like the idea of staying in the Prem, and I think a coach like Jurgen Klopp would do so well with him. I think he'd probably like Jurgen Klopp. Also, as well, Liverpool need new midfielders. They bought so many new attackers, but they need new number 8s. Of course, they play and have always played a 4-3-3 under Jurgen Klopp, and Mason Mount would be one of those number 8s. He'd be on one side of Fabinho and someone else on the other side, and hard-working, industrial number 8. He'd probably be perfect for Jurgen Klopp. The interested parties, and also, pause, if Chelsea continue to play a 4-2-3-1, I'm not sure that suits him that well, because there's no one number 8 there. There's only 2 6s, which is the double pivot, and a number 10, which is João Felix. João Felix is a better number 10 than Mason Mount. No one's going to disagree with that, if we do indeed keep João Felix. The interested parties may be encouraged to learn that currently talks about extending Mount's Chelsea career have been paused, given the need for Graham Potter's men to focus on finishing well in the top flight and Europe. They are not expected to resume said talks until the summer. Well, Chelsea are awful at the moment, and Mason Mount, there's no way of getting around it. He's playing very badly. The club might have seen this and been like, right, well, let's stop these talks, focus on what you're doing, play well, and then we can reflect on how you're playing when we do the talks in the summer. I guess it kind of makes sense. I just sniffed and muted the mic because I'm courteous. Right, let's read on. Once the season has ended and the conversations are picked up, Mount will have another 12 months left on, and Chelsea's intention is to secure the academy graduate on fresh terms, or approve a sale. So, not run his contract down, I guess, by all accounts. And I guess they say to him, look, mate, we want to sell you. Can we make some money for you, please? Because Mason Mount will bring money. He will bring, even with 12 months left on his deal, a 24, 25-year-old Mason Mount, in terms of what he's done in the game, and how he play. Everyone knows how he plays and how he trains really well. Coaches will want him. They'll be like, yeah, give me Mason Mount. Yeah, pay, even though he's got 12 months left on his deal, we'll still pay £40 million for it. Do you know what I mean? Something like that. You can imagine that. So I reckon that Chelsea might push for that rather than rather than letting him run down his contract. I don't know, that's speculation. Don't take that as gospel. Another important squad member to emerge from the ranks, Reece James, has been tied down through to 2028. And it is likely the club will want to keep his teammate in a similar pay bracket. I thought this would perhaps be the issue rather than, whatever. Chelsea's midfield rebuild has begun with the likes of Enzo Fernandez and Andre Santos. I like how they've added Andre Santos there, because they could have said, Cesare Cassidy, who's similar age, But Andre Santos, also Santos was at Stamford Bridge to watch that Southampton game with everyone booing and stuff, he must be like, what the hell have I done? I thought this was Chelsea. They won the Champions League the other day. What the hell is this? So Jorginho depart, and discussions about retaining the services of N'Golo Kante, that moves in a positive direction. Mount joined Chelsea at the age of 6 years old and has scored 33 goals in 200 appearances in terms of his senior career, helping them win the Champions League in 2021 and representing his country 36 times already. That's not bad, is it? Right. Let me know what you think about Mason Mount. I don't want to let him go. If he goes to Liverpool, he'll ball out, and I will hate that. But at the same time, I don't know everything that's happening behind the scenes, so maybe it's just got to be one way. Mason Mount divides opinion. I think that's mental. But hey, it's a game of opinions, football, and you should respect each other's opinion. Just encourage one another to have an educated opinion. Let's talk about the gaffer. So many of you in your WhatsApp groups would have seen rumours spreading around like wildfire that maybe Graham Potter has been sacked. Of course, news surfaced that training had been cancelled, and rather interestingly, and this is something I did talk about, they didn't post anything on social media for a very, very long time after. I mean, I'm just going to double check they have now at time of recording, because usually when Chelsea lose a game, even in really poor form or whatever, they'd be like, not say anything too much about, so they've retweeted stuff about like Asp, and they've retweeted stuff about Mudryk and Fofana now, but there was a long silence after the full-time tweet that Southampton lost. Now, when there's a social media silence like that, people do wonder, thinking, well, they're just checking stuff behind the scenes because they don't want to start talking about random stuff. Obviously, all the fans are very upset. There's a lot of Potter out stuff, a lot of negative responses, tweets and replies regarding the manager. But I did think, they've cancelled training, they're doing a social media blackout, which usually means they're preparing for a serious announcement, all that kind of stuff. But it turns out afterwards it was confirmed that they did have a day planned off the following day with no training, because they've got no midweek games to prepare for, which is fair enough and makes sense. And they have since posted stuff on social media. Of course, very pleased to see Cesar Azpilicueta post a thumbs up smiley picture in hospital. He looks very healthy. He doesn't look like he's got a swollen face or anything. He looks like, anyway, really, really pleased to see that. And it does look like they're just rallying around Graham Potter still, the ownership. And you've got to say they are backing their horse, man. Do you know what I mean? They are, I've been talking to a lot of people, Chelsea fans, content creators, asking the other boys, Chelsea content creators, what we think. All of us are on the same frequency of, this is absolute, despite your position on a rebuild, longing for an infrastructure like I have, despite all that, there's absolutely not acceptable in any shape or form. It's just not acceptable, and that can't go on. Like I said, I was really disappointed with Graham Potter in his managerial performance in that game. I don't mind how he's being measured in press conferences, although I understand that frustrates people. But there's no other answer, dude. At least for this season. You just gotta chill, because you can't bring in Zidane. Zidane doesn't speak English. He's a Galactico whisperer. He does what, this sounds really disrespectful to Zidane, but what Di Matteo did when he won the Champions League. He had an amazing team of players. He just had to make them happy. That's what Zidane did at Real Madrid. He had all these players. He doesn't speak English. He'll just dropping him into the Prem with all these random players will do absolutely nothing. Look, I don't want Pochettino. I never wanted Pochettino. I've got respect for him, but I think he did a really bad job at PSG. which makes Tuchel's job look even better that he did at PSG, getting them to the Champions League final and winning all those games of, and stuff. When you don't win the league with PSG and you just really crap in the Champions League, you are doing something wrong. When they sign loads of players for you. I don't want Poch. Also, it's just reminiscent of, Pochettino was in vogue in 2016 when he had a good Tottenham side. Oh, do one, mate. That's not what we need right now. What else? What else are people saying? People are saying Hansi Flick. Hansi Flick had an insanely good Bayern Munich team that he made. But he was wasn't he an assistant and just came into the... Is that gonna... I don't even know if he speaks English, probably not. But just dropping him in... These guys just dropping him in because they had good moments in certain situations elsewhere. In fact, you probably look at Graham Potter, who was playing really well in the Premier League with a certain amount of players and coached a style that was really effective in the Premier League. That's why you got, Graham Potter, as well as being this sort of company man who can so he can represent the rebuild and this idea of the grand Chelsea plan. Look, I'm not Graham Potter out, but I'm very much losing my Graham Potter in if there is any left. What I am now and what I maintain is we're screwed. What I mean is you just get through the season now. I know you don't want to hear that. I'm pretty certain we don't want to get relegated. We just give the players time. Give Enzo Fernandez time, João Felix time. Let them find happiness again. Madueke, let him find out how to combine. Score a goal. Mudryk, find some runs for Mudryk. Do you know what I mean? Just find a couple of goals, smiles. N'Golo Kante start again. This is the stuff that this season's got to be about now. Yeah. What do you think? I urge you to drop your comments, and I thank you for your likes. You are welcome to subscribe, and should you choose to do so, you should hit that sweet, sweet bell, baby. Boys, girls, it's tough out there. Look after each other. We're going to be alright. And I will see you very soon.